Does the FIA have a problem with bias? George receives no penalty for his aggressive braking that he did under the safety car, falling further behind, or so Red Bull would say. I've seen everywhere online people saying there's no way he gets a penalty. It's because he's British. He's got a British passport. He's not going to get a penalty. Lo and behold, no penalty for George Russell. You know, he probably did it intentionally to get Max Verstappen an extra penalty point if he could, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was something warranting of a penalty. Lando Norris receives a 5-second penalty for his incident with Oscar Piastri, but no penalty points, which that one seems a little bit more insane to me because we've seen penalty points given for much less. We've seen penalty points given out in practice for silly procedure issues. And so that one's a little more confusing to me. Maybe you could see the British bias in that one. Personally, I don't think it's a bias problem. I think it's the FIA is just incompetent and inconsistent with their stewardship. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think it comes down to like we don't have permanent full-time stewards, so we're getting kind of people in and out, and they just can't seem to make consistent decisions, which I think would help the sport quite a bit. So I think that's what it comes down to. I don't think it's necessarily a bias. I tend to agree with you on that. Um, and as far as the whole George Russell situation goes, I mean, yeah, it could have been intentional, but I don't think it was like intentional enough to like warrant anything really. I mean, and six one way, half a dozen the other. We'll never really know what was going through George's mind in that moment. But yeah, it was kind of weird that Lando didn't get any penalty points for that. And, like you said, we've seen a lot of penalty points handed out for a lot lesser infractions. So it was interesting. But yeah, I think consistent stewarding is really what will solve the problem. So hopefully we can get that at some point soon.
Yeah, wouldn't you know it? We say that we need consistent stewarding, no changes are made, and here we are once again having this conversation because we don't have stewarding that is consistent from race to race, and it's just unfortunate because this race was incredible. We saw the McLarens come together, George gets his first win, Kimi's first podium, and here we are talking about stewarding on this podcast because it's inconsistent from race to race. Like, I want to enjoy what actually happens on track, not what happens in a back room in the paddock an hour after the race ends. So just fix it, please. That's my one wish, is that we fix this.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that also, and this has also been inconsistent as well, but just coming to quick decisions is also really important. So whatever the decision is, that's fine. Just get to it really quickly. Where we're talking about Red Bull lodging a complaint against George Russell, and then like 2 hours after the race, if they had decided that George was deserving of a 5 second or a 10 second penalty or whatever, it's like, okay, George could have lost his win like 2 hours after the race. It's like, no, we need to make these decisions as they're happening.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're done with the whole podium ceremony. George has already sprayed the champagne. Next thing we know, he's got a 10-second penalty. He's finishing P18. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we should come to decisions. I will say that is at least a little bit better. It felt like in 2021, an incident would happen 25 laps from the end, and they'd say, "Oh, we're gonna investigate after the race." I'm like, "What are we doing? We've got a third of the race left. Figure it out." So they've at least gotten better with that. But yeah, it would have been kind of insane for us to get 2.5 hours after the race. George is already on a jet flying home, and oh, he lost his win. We already did the celebration. Whatever, doesn't matter.